thanks for tuning in again to another episode of Spartan Outdoors TV. Hope you're all doing well. Back here for another quick and easy deer meat recipe. We're making a venison, mushroom and Swiss steak sandwich. So all you need for everything here is some thinly cut deer steak. I've got one medium onion here. I've got one small container of sliced mushrooms. These are just white mushrooms, but you can use portobellos or whatever else you'd like. And I've got some Swiss cheese. I've got some butter to help fry it up in. And last thing we're going to need is some mayonnaise. And that's going to be for our horseradish aioli, which I'm going to show you guys later. Alright, let's get started on the meat. Alright, so let me show you guys how I like to prepare my meat for these sandwiches. Here I just have some venison backstrap that I cut thinly into chops, and then so basically butterflied it, and then I rolled it out with a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin or like a meat tenderizer, you can just throw some plastic wrap over the meat. Grab yourself like an old bottle or anything, use kombucha. That's very trendy and hip if possible. And then you just want to kind of roll these guys out. And these are already flat. And all that's going to do is help us get an even consistency in the width of the meat. AKA it's going to cook evenly and all three of your pieces are going to be done. Okay, I got a pan here. It's going on a medium heat. That's really all you need. I'm going to throw in about 1.5 tablespoons of some butter. No need for the butter. I think it just makes a nicer finished product with the sandwich. Good flavors. And then about 1 tablespoon of some olive oil. And yeah, that's all we're going to need. We're going to let this heat up for a few minutes. And once it just starts slowly smoking is when we're going to want to throw the meat on. Okay, we got our pan heating up. Just going to get these steaks ready, these thin slices of deer steak. Literally all I'm going to do is just, generously put some salt and pepper on both sides. You might put some garlic powder, but I really don't think you're going to need it. The garlic powder is going to be in the aioli sauce that we make later. So just salt and pepper, both sides. And you also want your meat to be room temperature, so pull it out about 30 minutes before you start, cooking it in that hot oil. Just going to make sure that the inside's not too raw or cold or anything. Alright, so these are ready for the pan. Alright, our pan is nice and hot. We got a medium heat here. We got 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and it's just starting to brown up. So we're going to throw our meat in there. Perfect sizzle. And you're not going to cook these very long. They're extremely thin. Really, just about 90 seconds per side. You really don't want to get them too gamey and well done. So yeah, just stay right here. Keep an eye on them. We're going to flip them after about 90 seconds. Alright, 90 seconds gone, and we're just going to flip those right over. Look at that crust on there, really, really nice. And you can see that if you go really any thicker, it's going to be a little too chewy, a little too much for a sandwich, You don't want the deer meat to overwhelm it. Alright, these guys are done. Keep them off to the side, let those guys rest. Okay, so once our deer meat comes off, we're going to put our vegetables in. Like I said, I got 1 medium-sized onion, 1 small container of chopped up mushrooms. Yeah, just slice these really nice and thin. So this is that same oil and butter that we use to cook the venison in. If you're really particular about it, you can change out your oil, put fresh butter, but otherwise, I'm just going to keep it like this. There's tons of flavor in here that rendered off that deer meat, so we want that kind of infused in the vegetables. Going to throw in our sliced onion and our sliced mushrooms, and we're just going to cook this down on a maybe low-medium heat, and let them all kind of soften up, absorb that butter, and cook down. So we're about the 8-minute mark here. The onions, you can see, are really starting to soften up. The mushrooms have shriveled and started to soften. They probably only need another 5 minutes or so, and this is a totally optional thing, but at this point I just like to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar, just a tiny bit. It really goes well with the onions. It'll help caramelize the onion, and it just goes really awesome on this steak sandwich. Alright, so this is absolutely perfect. You can see how the onions as well as the mushrooms have really softened, become nice and stringy, and they absorbed all that delicious balsamic vinaigrette. Alright, so this is what really makes the sandwich for me. We're making a horseradish and black pepper aioli. It's so delicious, and it goes great with the steak as well as the Swiss and the mushroom. It's just a great combination. So here I'm just taking about 3 or 4 tablespoons of some mayonnaise. Start with that much. A little bit of lemon, so it's not going to be a lemony sauce by any means, but this is really going to help cut through the fat of the mayo and just kind of brighten everything up. Some rosemary. If you have fresh, that's even better. Maybe about a teaspoon. Some thyme. Just some salt. That's all to taste. I'm probably putting about a teaspoon. And then you want to put a generous helping of black pepper. I'm using coarse ground black pepper. You know, you really want this sauce to be peppery. And then finally, about a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Put some fresh garlic, you know, mince it up. That's even better. And most importantly, horseradish. This is just regular prepared horseradish. A little bit goes a long ways, so really only need about a tablespoon and a half for right now. And then just simply mix this all together. Give it a taste real quick, just for seasoning. See if you want to add more horseradish or anything. But you just want to mix this really well. And yeah, it's smelling great. Smells garlicky. You can really smell that horseradish. Now, the longer this sits, really the better it gets. I mean, this sauce will be great in 2 or 3 days, but it's also fine right now. I just like to put it in the fridge, covered, for about 20 minutes until we're about to serve. Okay, so we're almost ready to eat here. I'm using some hearty white Texas toast today. Threw that really quick in the toaster just for a couple minutes. And then I'm putting Swiss cheese on each crown here, and we're going to get that nice and bubbly under the broiler. I recommend keeping it on low just for a couple minutes, and keep the oven light on, kind of watch them, because you can burn the bread, you can burn the cheese in a matter of, you know, just a few minutes. So yeah, keep them in there for about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, depends on your oven. But we're just going to keep that cheese under the broiler and get it nice and melted. Alright, our cheese is nice and melted. I'm going to show you guys how I like to assemble these sandwiches. We got some of that peppercorn and horseradish aioli. Lay down a nice thick amount on the bottom. Each one. Then we're going to grab some of our mushrooms and onions and that balsamic vinaigrette. Lay those down on the sandwich. Oh man, it's going to be so good. Alright. And finally, you just want to put down your deer meat on the sandwich. Stack them up if you're using a bigger bun or a sub, you know, ciabatta roll, whatever you want. But this is just perfect for one sandwich. And there you go. There's your mushroom and Swiss venison steak sandwich with a nice creamy horseradish and peppercorn aioli. So yeah, if this episode was interesting to you, or you found something helpful, throw me a like, please. It really helps the channel grow. If there's something you'd like to see, or something that you'd like to see me do different, leave something in the comments, and please subscribe for future content. Thanks guys, and have a good one. Till next time.